Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my Minecraft server. I play with two of my friends, Newball and Alpaca. I play with them. Currently I'm the only one on, because I didn't tell them that I turned on the server, so my bad. So my comic is reaching its season 1 finale soon. I've been making I made so many episodes. I think season 1 is supposed to be 87 episodes, which is a lot more than I thought I would do when I first started this. Here's my dog pile. I'm not gonna get very far through this video. I'm gonna get really distracted. That's fine. Look at all the dogs. These are all the dogs I have, because I have an obsession with just having a ton of Minecraft dogs. And some of them have died, some of them have died, to be fair, but we can ignore that. We look past that. You can't see anything. You can't see anything. You can't see anything. Spoiler alert for personal information now. Down we go. Oh, hello. This is our farm. I'm mildly giving you a tour while I'm talking. And since my comic is coming to its season 1 finale, I wanted to talk about how to make a comic, because I think that's fun. I don't know. A lot of people have asked me how to make a comic. Not a lot of people have made a comic, which either means my advice was terribly, horribly bad, or they just didn't do it, but it's great. When did I start this comic? So, I think I started this comic 6 years ago, maybe? No, not 6. Not totally 6. It would be 4 years ago that I started this comic, started Habitat and all. And Habitat, the idea for Habitat itself came from a dream I had when I was a lot younger, where people just had magical powers, and they had tattoos on their fingers. They had tattoos. That's something that isn't in the comic. I don't know why I didn't put it in the comic, I just didn't. But yeah, they had tattoos on their fingers to say, "Oh, look, you're a rose." Yeah, I think Rose was originally in it. I don't think any of the other flowers were. That all happened afterwards. And so Habitat was created during my art class and lunch in my art class, my friends and I would talk and make these D&D type choose your own adventure stuff. One day I was like, hey, maybe we should do this one, and I presented my idea, and I told the friend about my dream, and then we did it. And then eventually it got really boring, because originally they were just the characters were just inside of Habitat. Habitat is a big skyscraper in the forest, as I imagine it. And so all the characters were doing, we were doing, I guess, because we were the characters, we were just in the lab, and that kind of got boring. And eventually we did go outside, but it was it was in a pen. It was very sad. And we got really bored of that. So we never actually finished it. The conclusion of that was nothing. There were a bunch of weird plot things as well. Oh my god. There's so much about it I probably didn't know. So then I have a really bad, not habit. No, it's not a bad habit. In order for me to fall asleep, I need to think of a whole entire story in my head. Because, yeah, that's what I do. I don't know. It just entertains me while I sleep. It makes me not think of all the other dark, depressing, sad thoughts that I could have had if I didn't do it. So, yeah, I just make up a little story in my head. And so one of these stories was just redoing Habitat. Yeah, I redid Habitat in my head, and I really liked it. And I liked some of the characters that I had made. It wasn't the originally, Mason and stuff. But, I liked it. So, yeah, I was like, hey, why don't I start making little characters? So I drew out the first sketch of characters. That was the sound of me putting it on the screen, because I'm not going to remember that. I'm not. So I made all the characters, and then I gave them personalities, and then I started writing it, and it was especially helpful during COVID, because I had something to do. So during COVID, I rewrote the entire script in the Notes app on my phone, which is where I write everything. It is the best place for me to write anything. Screw Google Docs, screw everything else. I write in the Notes app on my phone. And yeah, and then, you know, comic happened. I really just, I honestly didn't even expect to get past like day one. I was like, the joke among my friends was like, oh, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. This is it. I'm gonna do day one, then I quit, and then I'm like, I'm gonna do day two, then I quit, and then, you know, kind of a little too far now. Kind of a little too far now to quit. The basics of uploading a comic. The first ever episode I uploaded was like, I think it was January 5th, but it was like in the middle of the night. I was just like, yeah, I was awake way too late. And I was just like, you know what? You know what would be a good idea? I'm gonna upload my comics. So I did. First ever upload that I did. Someone rated it like a 6. Like, they read like one episode in the middle of the night and went, not good enough. And then just like rated it a 6. And that's funny. And my rating is still super bad to this day because of that. Not super bad, it's pretty okay. Hello, pigs. They keep on spawning, and I'm sure there's something I could do about that, but do I want to do something about it? Not really. If you think that you need like any preparation at all you need to upload a comic is your first episode, a couple of cover things, and that's really it. I typed everything in like last minute. It was great. I upload on webtoon. There are plenty of other websites that you could probably upload on. I would do research into that. And to upload a comic on webtoon, you need like a few things. Ooh, look, more farming. You want to go do more farming? Let's go do. Bro, my diamond armor is breaking. Whoops. My bad. Hold on, diamond armor break. All you need to upload on webtoon is a square thumbnail, vertical thumbnail, title of your series. I hope you have that down. And maybe a description, but honestly, you can just wing that. But once you have all of those little things, and then you just plop it in, you upload. Then you go to your friends and you go, hey, look, I have a comic now, and they go, wow. So to make an episode, I do this every week. I upload on Wednesdays. First, you sketch. This one, like, I like sketching. It's the easiest part of it for me, because I get to put all the little characters, and I get to put all the little poses, and I get to make Dante all grumpy. So you sketch, you pick a random color, you sketch, and then you're on to step 2. I don't really put a lot of thought or effort into my comic. Honestly, it is like low tier art because I can make some very pretty things, but if I make very pretty things, it will take me way longer than a week to make it, and if it takes me way longer than a week to make it, then, you know, I can't really upload every Wednesday. It's like, I would describe it as like 25% of like what my real art is. Which means it's not necessarily the best at times, but you know, it's there. It exists. I mean, I have drawn some very good figures, but you know, my comic showcases none of that. Moving on. Line art. Line art's the second step. It is the most boring. Well, actually, no. Hold on. Before line art is panels. Is where I like do the little borders of all the panels, and that takes me the shortest amount of time out of any of the steps that I am just now putting into place. You just slap a little drawing assist, you draw some straight lines, and then you're great. You're great. There's really no it's really not that bad. That's not hard. Then we get to line art. And you could say the panel thing was a part of the line art, but I don't. I consider it 2 separate steps, and this is my comic. Second step is to do little line art, and this is where, honestly, sometimes the sketch layer just becomes a little bit of a reminder for me. Like, it just reminds me of what to put there. Do I follow it religiously? Not really. It's funny to see, like, it is the one step of my comic. These early steps are the ones that I can't, like, hand off to anyone. I have to do all of it myself, because it's so hard to just jump in and understand what I have already put down. Like, I have the sketching equivalent of messy handwriting. No one else will understand my sketch, but I do. And that's all that matters, because I'm the one making the comic. So yeah, sometimes it becomes a little bit more of a suggestion. One of my friends one time said to me, why do you have a sketch layer if you're like not gonna follow it? Because I was just going so horribly off the lines. And I thought, yeah, damn, that's a good point. But it's more of a reminder sometimes. Sometimes I make mistakes on my sketch layer and I'm just like, I'll fix it. I'll fix it later. And this is where I fix it. And my mom says that this is the most satisfying part to watch. I don't know, she likes watching me draw my comic because I do it while we're like watching TV. And yeah, it's pretty mindless, honestly, for me. That, like, I don't have to think too much about what I'm doing when I'm doing line art. I'm just, like, tracing, I'm making shapes. Does this kind of make sense? Okay, great. Does this look like a teenage emo grumpy grape? Yup. Cool. This is where I can do a lot of these steps, like, out of order. So normally next, I go to coloring, which is, you just plop in colors. Again, very mindless. And then, after that, I start shading, which is also very mindless. And also, another step that I actually let people do. Like, I sometimes just hand off my comic to my friends. And it has become a very fun thing where they just, they can shade or they can more likely do something else. So if you ever are looking through an episode and you see someone making blushies with shading, that's Newble. That's Newble. Newble did that because Newble likes making my characters have weird shading blushies. After shading, we do a little bit of either backgrounds or writing text. So let's go to the backgrounds first. Backgrounds are normally pretty easy. Sometimes, I don't know. It's not really, I don't really like doing backgrounds that much. Yeah, no, I find backgrounds to be really boring. And now I use a crappy 3D home designing software in order to make all of the backgrounds. Yeah, so there are some limitations with that software, specifically that it does not do light very well. It does not look very artsy, so I often do have to edit the images to make them look better. But it is way easier than what I used to do, and it looks way better than what I used to do, which was draw them all by hand. After doing the backgrounds, normally what I do is I make I write out the text. So this is kind of an extra step. Normally all you probably would have to do, I'm assuming, I don't know, I've never done it, would be to type out the text, put it in your fancy little font, and then make a nice little circle around it. But I decided that was too much effort for me, so I made it even more effort by making it so that I have to trace over every single letter. And yes, I do trace. Don't take that out of context. I trace over the letters. And when I say trace, it's more of a guide sometimes. It's just a guide to where to put the letters, similar to how my sketch is. Because otherwise, I would not know where to place the letters. Everything would be wonky. Everything would be off-center, up your butt, around the corner, take 2 left turns, and you're there. It would not be a very nice letter. It would not be very legible either. I have very bad handwriting. This is the only way that you would be able to read any of my comic. So yeah, I do the lettering. And occasionally, this is the other step that I often will hand off to friends, and they enjoy doing. And so if you ever see wonky, weird, whatever, out of the normal handwriting, probably because I handed it off, or maybe because I have taken back the comic for the first time in a while, and I am actually doing the lettering myself. And my friends just enjoy doing it. They don't ask me for anything. If they want me to put their name in the description, I would. But so far they're just like, give me your comic. And so normally I'll give credit. Sometimes I forget, but normally that's because it's the same person who's already done one. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then if there's any extra lighting, for example, like when they're around the fire pit, then I will normally do it. Then I'll do it either after or during shading, normally is where I put the lighting. But there's never really a lot of complex lighting, again, because it's not my best artwork, and that would take me ages, literal ages to do if I decided to do that. So, you know, I don't. After that, all I have to do is upload, think of a very last minute title, and then, you know, just put it up there. That's pretty much the entire process of making a comic. If you like my comic, I'm very happy and, you know, ecstatic that you support it. I really love whenever I see any comments, especially that I can read on my comic, because I don't know, it makes my day better. And even if no one was reading my comic, I would still be making it, because I love it. I love making it. I love seeing it come into existence. And I love also that my friends can now see what I do. Even though I do have normally 4 buffer episodes, I've only ever had to use 2 at most, which means I've only ever been like 2 weeks behind. That's fine. I honestly just love it so much. It's really hard for me to not be caught up with the comic because it is fun and I enjoy it. I think also another important little inspiration for this comic was actually My Street, funnily enough. So I think I'll talk about this in a future video, but I was an avid My Street watcher. And if there's any controversies, I don't condone them, but I don't know about them, okay? So leave me alone. Now I don't like AFMA very much, but I loved My Street. And so I made like a little comic based off of My Street, and that was my original inspiration for making a comic, because I started out making my comic on paper. Like, it was an entire book. There's an entire book in my bookshelf full of just this comic. It was only day 1. It was not the entire comic. I've never been able to draw the entire comic. This is the closest I've gotten. So let's hope it continues. I started out on paper, and I would take that little book everywhere, to the point where my social studies teacher once saw me drawing in it and asked me, "Hey man, what you doing? Are you making a comic?" And then I got so embarrassed that I could not tell her what it was about, so I can only wonder what she thinks my comic is about. I hope it's not something bad. I don't know. I don't know why I was so embarrassed. Now I literally just show it to everyone. There is that one time I showed it to my art teacher. It was the one where Melody says, "I love myself a strong, confident man." You know, that was funny. She was just like, "Yep, alright man, that's cool." Some other general questions about my comic. How many days does it have? It has, I believe, 8 in the first season. But you would know that if it is out. 7 in the second season. But in the second season, the days are much longer. There will be only 2 seasons. I don't have plans for a 3rd season. I don't think I ever will have plans for a 3rd season. And will I do anything after this? Honestly, I don't know. Like, if I finish Habitat, I don't know what I would do after it. And also, fun fact about season 2. Season 2 of Habitat is a lot darker. Without spoiling it, things will be very sad. But I also think it is my favorite of the 2 seasons. Like, I like season 2 a lot better than I like season 1. I think it's written a lot better. If you're interested in anything about my comic, you're into weird sci-fi stuff, if you're into dystopian, maybe post-apocalyptic, I said nothing, don't worry about that. Then, you know, it might be right up your alley, might not. I don't know, give it a try. There's a link in the description. Look at my old little skin. Oh, it's been so long. I've been playing a lot of Bedrock with my friends. And I have like totally different skins on there that look really cool. Very emo. But look at my little simple little wintry skin. Ooh. It's like the middle of the summer. I should not be wearing this. Yeah, like, subscribe, because otherwise I will eat your newborns. I hope you have a good day. Goodbye.